Begin the Zuri deck build by constructing the framing. We recommend using pressure-treated lumber. Do your best to make certain that everything is as square and as straight as possible. You'll also want to install the fascia or skirt board at this time. When installing these boards, it's important that the fascia fully cover the framing, as it will support the Zuri trim. All miter joints are glued, and an expansion joint, such as a shiplap, be placed in any run longer than 20 feet. Fasten the fascia to the framing with standard weather-resistant decking screws where they'll be hidden, and Cortex screws with color-coordinated plugs throughout the remainder of the board. Boards 6 inches wide or less require 2 fasteners every 16 inches. Boards 8 to 10 inches wide require 3 fasteners every 16 inches, and boards 12 inches wide or more require 4 to 5 fasteners every 16 inches. Note that the joist spacing for the deck is 12 inches on center. Though Zuri decking passes all standards for 16-inch on center framing and is more than strong enough for that application, PVC can feel a little flexible underfoot in the heat of the summer. The 12-inch joist spacing will give the deck a more solid feel. Also notice that a 2x8 box is framed in the center of the deck. Here's Stephen Mitchell to explain why.
So one of the things we'd like to talk to you about is design and layout, actually laying out the deck boards, prepping the deck for the PVC application. So one of the characteristics of PVC is it expands when it gets hot, contracts when it gets cold. So really long decks, large decks, we'll say decks over 40 feet, this is the preferred method, that you use a feature board. We've termed it feature board, but actually you're basically putting a board perpendicular to the other boards. And what this does, it allows for a very consistent gap when that expansion contraction takes place, and much more desirable than some of the other applications. Typically what will happen on a job site with this technique is the contractor will have his finish guys do all the perimeter trim, put these feature boards in, and be really aware of their measurements, and then they can have guys come back in and fill in the voids as these trim carpenters create these pockets for the decking.
Creating the finished edge of a feature board is easy using a circular saw, a heat gun, and some PVC glue. Add 2 1/4 inches to the length of the board. Now measuring in from the end of the board, make reference lines at 3/4 and 2 1/4 inches. With the saw set at a 45-degree angle and a depth of 11/16 of an inch, remove the material between your lines. Be careful not to cut through the face of the material. Next, heat the area until it becomes flexible enough to fold. Don't overheat the area, it will damage the finish. Place PVC cement on one side of the area and fold. Hold the fold for about 30 seconds or until the cement has set. The feature board is now ready for installation. The board can be installed using the camo system every 12 to 16 inches.
If the job really dictates that you have a staggered butt joint, what we ask you to do is we ask you to add blocking on both sides of the joist where the butt joint will occur. What this does is it ensures that you have plenty of substrate underneath to accept those camo fasteners or the ebb tie. The ebb tie really requires this because the fastener will be setting over in this area. So those are our two blocking methods that you should be aware of when you use Zuri.